Do you ever feel like you're dating the same person, different fonts, whether it's being in a relationship with them, just regular dating, or even talking phases, situationships, any of that? Do you ever feel like you're just meeting the same person on repeat and they're even saying the same things and doing the same thing, and you're just thinking to yourself, how is there that many people that do this? And it just reinforces it in your brain, and you're like, well, I guess this is just what I have to deal with. Well, it makes you lose hope because you're like, how do I get around this? But the good news is you can get around this, and I have a solution for you. And this is what worked for me, because that was me a couple years ago, maybe even a year ago. I was attracting the same type of people, down to the point where they would say the same things. I'm like, are you just the same person in a like skin suit? Like, what the heck? So here's your solution. All right. First of all, it's important to understand that this is a lesson that you're not learning. Okay, and that's why it's being repeated. And along the way, with this unlearned lesson, the repeating cycle is getting it trapped in your brain that this is how it is. And the more it happens, the more it stays in your brain that, oh, well, I guess like this is just how it is. I don't know. But it's not just how it is. And there is a simple solution. And it does take effort. But that solution is inner work. And inner work, you're going to hear me talk about it a lot on this channel. It is very important because it helps you get to the root cause of your problems. It helps you understand why you do certain things, why you think certain things, why certain things are appearing a certain way in your life. And it really explains a lot, and it'll help you live the life that you want to be living. So for this problem specifically, what you're going to do is you're going to write out a list, and you're going to write out all of the unfavorable things that you're seeing repeating. They could be the smaller things, or they could be the major things. This could be like, maybe you're seeing a pattern with people cheating, maybe you're seeing a pattern with just toxic relationships in general, maybe you're seeing people that believe certain things or say certain things, or just the same type of person, and it's unfavorable. So you're gonna write down all of the things that you don't like about it, all the things that are happening, even if they're like a small thing that maybe you only saw it twice, but it's just something that stood out to you. And then you're gonna write what you wanna see instead, the things that you haven't been seeing in these people, and you're gonna flip that and put in a positive thing to fall back on, because when we're seeing a lot of negative things, it's important to look at the positive. It's always important to look at the positive, because the negative can really trap you in the cycle of negativity. Duh. So you're gonna write the things out you want to see instead, and you're really gonna focus on those and get those in your brain. And you're gonna believe that they're possible. I know it's hard, but you're gonna say, you know what? You're gonna read through that list and you're gonna say, this is possible. Even though I haven't seen proof of it yet, this is possible. It's what's coming. Positive affirmations, always gonna help you out. Next, this is gonna be about you. You're gonna write down the limiting beliefs you have, the negative beliefs you have, what you feel about yourself concerning relationships, right? The things that you see show up a lot that are relating to you, beliefs you have in the relationship, whether it could be stuff like that you don't think you're good enough, that you think there's somebody better. Then I know a lot of girls will say things like, all men are bad, all men cheat, all men do this or that. That is a limiting belief. So write them all down, all the things that come up, and some of them may surprise you. Really let yourself think and just write down whatever comes to mind. And this is really gonna help you to just put it down on paper. And then again, with the other things, we're gonna focus on the positive next. After you write all these things out, you're gonna look at all the things that you believe about yourself, all of the negative things, the limiting beliefs, all of that. You're going to make an argument like you're in a debate with yourself. You're going to flip it, and you're going to argue why it's not true and why the positive side of it's true. So you're gonna write down the positive things you wanna believe about yourself instead, or new positive thoughts and feelings that you want to have. So it could be either the opposite of the bad belief, like say, if you believe something like, maybe you believe that you're not good enough and that there's always going to be somebody better. That's not what you want to be believing, right? So instead of doing that, instead of believing that one, you're gonna say, I am always the best option. I am these men's first choice. And if something ever happens to prove that otherwise, then just laugh it off and be like, well, he must be stupid then because he can't see that I am the best option. So I dodged a bullet. This is just the universe saving me. This is just God saving me, you know? You always have to look at it with a different view rather than thinking that you're the problem. Next, I will always reiterate this because this is absolutely 100% true. Everybody is a reflection of you. So the biggest reason why you have to do this inner work is because these people are reflecting your thoughts of you. So if you're seeing a repeating cycle of people cheating on you, for example, it's a self-worth issue. And I know that sounds mean to say, like, that it's your fault that people are cheating on you. No, that's not what I mean. The way you think about yourself is the reason why you are attracting this certain type of person that's cheating on you. It's always the certain type of person you're attracting, not it being your fault. So, because when you're at a certain level, a certain vibration, when you're at a lower vibration, the bad people are going to flock to you. And that's another reason why you need to be positive. You need to think more positively. You need to have better beliefs about yourself, because when you're at a higher vibration, they can't get to you. They're going to look at you and they're going to be like, oh, I can't. She's not going to let that happen. Like, I'm not even going to bother with her. She has too much self-worth. She has too many boundaries. I can't do that. That's what, and that's what you're going to start seeing once you start doing this inner work, once you start changing your beliefs. And look, it's okay. We all have our limiting beliefs and all of that, but the point is that you need to work through them. And once you're able to work through them, you will see these changes. And it can be a challenge to work through these things because, you know, it's deep stuff. You don't want to go into like all of that stuff and, you know, the background, and like it's like so much work, but you know what, it is worth it. It is 100% worth it, because once you work through it, you're gonna see such a change in your life. It's gonna be such a dramatic change. I can testify this. So basically, you change your thoughts, other people change their actions, or they don't come into your life in the first place. Because, just to reiterate, when you're attracting a bunch of bad people, it's because they're at a lower vibration and they see that you're a target and that unhealed trauma and all of that stuff, that you're a good target for them, because they're going to be able to do this without you fighting back as much. And it's a horrible thing, but you know what, when you have your boundaries built up, they see that and they're like, you know what. So that is why you start to see better people as you improve. Now, next one. How do you know if a pattern's repeating? Well, you're just gonna know. It's going to be very, very clear. Sometimes it can be a little different, sometimes it can present itself differently, but for me, after I didn't learn the lesson for long enough, it started to be exactly the same thing. And so that I was like, there's no way this is even possible. There is no way. So I'll share a little bit about my experience so you can see like how it changes. Okay, this is me the next day. I'm re-recording this for like the millionth time because I'm trying to get it to be short and not super in-depth and extensive. We do not need a whole history here. So this is my history with how inner work helped me find better people after like a lifetime of finding bad people or having cycles repeating of whatever. So it started at like age 3. I was boy obsessed at like age 3. I always wanted a boyfriend throughout the entire school year, not school year, like all years of regular school. I just wanted a boyfriend, and I would have somebody like every year that would be like, we liked each other, but like we never said anything. And it started to reinforce that I wasn't good enough, or like these people just weren't going to talk to me, or getting a boyfriend was hard. And those were limiting beliefs that I all put in my head, and they would play out because obviously I believed them. And starting from a young age, when you put something in your mind in a young age, it makes it even harder. So it was making the entire situation harder. After that, I got into talking stages with people when I started dating and getting situationships and all of that. I started to have more problems with abandonment issues, and I would believe that everybody would leave me, and I would go on dates with these people or like be in a talking stage with these people. And at some point I started putting a timeline on it, and I'm like, after 3 dates these people all fall off the face of the earth to suddenly tell me they're not interested after pretending like they were like all into this. And there were so many people that it was like really reinforcing it when I'm like, oh my god, this is just how it happens, what the heck. And so I would just believe it because that was happening, and then me believing it made it happen even more, which is why you have to think positively and not negatively, because when you reinforce the negative patterns, then it actually makes it happen. So you want to make a positive instead. If only I knew that sooner. And after these, I finally got into a relationship, and it was not a good choice, and I knew it. And this had been the point where I had found the same person, different fonts. It was literally like the same person in a skin suit. Like, I didn't even know, carbon copies of each other. They all had the same issues. They were all narcissistic, manipulative, mental health problems, substance abuse problems, way too much stuff. But they were like, they even looked the same. I'm like, are these people related? They're not, but I would have a problem with that. And I let go of one, and then there was another one, and then I dated the next one. Whatever. That relationship though was good because that was the last straw when I was like, you know what, something needs to change. I can't do this anymore, because I left that relationship with so much PTSD and trauma. I'm like, all right, it's time to make a change. So that was the milestone that made me say, okay, inner work time. And I didn't really go full into it yet, but the fact that I was seeing a change from even small changes was impressive. So I gave myself a break from dating, not very long of a break, because I was still kind of like obsessed with the idea of having a boyfriend still. But I did take some time to myself and like do some inner work. Before I really knew what inner work was, I was kind of just letting myself like decompress and like reassess what I want, and because I was ready for a nicer person after that, and that was a big change because I was not ready for a nicer person before that. I thought people were too nice and that I wanted like a bad boy, which I didn't. Not anymore. And I shouldn't have wanted back then because I didn't know how bad it was. Anyway, so I took some time to do a little bit of work, and then I went back and I started dating again, looking for nicer guys. Now, we were still not at that point where we were good, right? I was still attracting not so good people. And I got to the point at like one person, I'm like, you know what, like that's it. Like I'm pausing. I'm actually like gonna start like working through my problems. And there's a few people here and there and whatever. And then I really like got into my mental health problems and like working through them. And I wasn't even doing regular inner work yet, but I was working through my mental health problems that I had been ignoring for forever. And then when I was looking for better people after that, when I took my little break from boys again, because I needed it, I went back to it and found better people, still not quite there yet. They weren't the right type of people, but this time they were all similar. They were kind of like overly obsessed with me, and 2 of them were like freaking out about how they wanted to date me like immediately. And that was the first time that I ever had people like be that obsessed. Like that's what I wanted when I was younger. I would have like loved that, having somebody be so interested right off the bat, being like, please be my girlfriend after even though I just met you today. But these people were similar in a different way. At least they were nicer. Except I only went on one date with them, so I can't even say that. And one of them was not nice. He was just strange, okay? Anyway, so that showed me, okay, time to take another step back because this is not what I want. I do not want people like this. And so I took another step back and I said, okay, I am not talking to boys at all. I am like unfollowing all these people. I am unadding them all on Snapchat. Like I'm not talking to any more of these people. I am done. I am taking a break, and I'm really going into depth this time without just doing it lightly. So I really dove into inner work. I was like watching YouTube videos, and I was finding different ways to work through my problems, like in all areas. And when I was finally ready to go back to dating again, I had an entire new viewpoint, and I was seeing things all differently, and I was seeing myself differently because I had so much more respect for myself and my boundaries, and I was ready to find somebody much better. And so I went back out there again, and I went on 3 dates. They were all very nice people, and I saw how much of a difference it was. One of them didn't work out because we didn't have any like connection at all. Like we had nothing to talk about, and we're like, okay, that's not happening. But the other two, I was actually the one who ended it, and that was big for me because even though I did end my relationship that was bad, and that was a big step for me, being able to end these was a big step for me, especially them being like nice people too. I would have settled before, maybe, but I didn't settle this one because I'm like, this is still not what I'm looking for. I think there's still a little bit of work I want to do, not necessarily for dating in general, but because I felt like I was close to the point that I wanted to be at, but I just wanted to focus on myself instead for a little while I kind of worked through other problems and kept myself on track because I have ADHD. I get off track really easily. With the last person that I was going on dates with, like, I found myself getting way off track because it's super easy for me to get off schedule if I let myself, and that just kind of messed the whole thing up. And so this time, rather than doing it for the sake of dating better people, I'm doing it for the sake of me and becoming a better person myself, which sounds cheesy, but it's not. So basically, there was a lot to that, but the difference I have seen from the beginning to the end has been so just shocking to me that I was ever going to see that much of a change. Like, I didn't even know what was in store for me if I did inner work, which I didn't even know about for like a long time. Even better thing is that, like, I'm not obsessed with people anymore. Like, I don't get obsessed with boys. I don't put them on the pedestal above myself. I'm like, always me first because I'm the person that's always going to be there for me. And if, you know, in relationships and friendships and whatever end, but I'm always going to be the one that's here for me, and I'm the most important one in this thing. So self-love and working on myself is the most important thing, and if I am not prioritized, then I am not going to be truly happy, and I'm not going to be in a good mental state. I always just remind myself of that. I don't even have to remind myself of that anymore. At this point, I'm like, this is what makes me happy, and yeah. Oh, and also, you're gonna be tested. You're gonna have tests. You're gonna have, like, these people come back into your life or tempting situations coming in, and don't fall for it. That's one really important thing I have to put in here. Do not fall for it, because those people will come crawling back and they'll be like, oh my god, like, I'm here to be great suddenly. And that's probably not your person. If it was somebody especially somebody who treated you horribly, they're gonna like come in and they're gonna pretend because they feel your energy shift. Be like, oh my god, come on now, like, I'm ready to date, like, whatever. You do not want that person back. They're still the same person, they're just pretending. And yeah, so don't fall for it if these people come back in. Be strong. So that was my experience with it. I hope this was helpful. If you have any video suggestions that you would like to see, you can put those requests down in the comments. Please consider liking this video and subscribing to my channel so I know that there are people that are interested in what I have to say. I really enjoy helping people that were where I was at when I was struggling the most. So if this was helpful, let me know. Love you. You're awesome. See you in the next video.